There's this garden of yours, a garden you cultivate with a variety of flowers of different colors, shapes, sizes, and fragrances. You water your childlike flowers every day, treat them like babies. You love your flowers. Then one day, this giant looking monstrosity of a creature walks into your garden. You can feel the aura of this animal. You know the vibe it brings along, and it isn't good. One by one, this monster begins plucking your flowers right in front of you. He steps on some, tears others apart. He goes into a rampage. Luckily for you, you have the right accessories to deal with this destructive creature. So you head back in, grab your defenses, and fire back. The monster is down, but not dead. China is that monster. It is down, but not dead. It is wailing in pain. It wants its suffering to end. But Central Asia won't be done with China anytime soon. Here's why. Hi and welcome. You are watching TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host, Sanbir Ranhotra, and in this video, I will tell you how Central Asia is holding China's BRI to ransom. Let's begin. How would you define BRI? Oh wait, I'm so sorry. How rude of me. Do you know what BRI is? We need to get the basics right first. BRI, an abbreviation of China's Belt and Road Initiative, is a global infrastructure development project. It is Xi Jinping's pet project. Now, how would you define it? One word pretty much sums it all up: exploitative. BRI is exploitative and a vehicle using which the Chinese Communist Party debt traps economically weak and developing nations. It was launched in 2013 by Xi Jinping and has ever since formed a pillar of China's international diplomacy and foreign relations. But around the world, BRI is beginning to face opposition and pushback, and Xi Jinping is not happy. Central Asia, the region whose countries came into being after the disintegration of the Soviet Union, has begun leading the crusade against China's BRI. As a part of its domination strategy, Chinese FDI in the 5 Central Asian countries stood at 14.7 billion US dollars, that is 1.2% of Beijing's total investments in Asia by 2018. China has put in more than 17 billion US dollars in projects in Kazakhstan, around $4 billion in Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, and $710 million in Tajikistan since 2013. Central Asian countries have had enough of China. As a Russian sphere of influence where India has much interest, China really swooped in like a disfigured alien. But now, China is being tamed by the countries of the region with the support of Russia and India. You would be surprised to know, but when it comes to Central Asia, the US and Russia have a tacit understanding of working together for inhibiting the growth of China. Sounds cool, right? And then, the 5 Central Asian countries sent their foreign ministers to India on Saturday to discuss issues critical to the region with New Delhi, with a special focus on the situation in Afghanistan. Now, we know for a fact that India and Russia are behind these 5 countries, showing the finger rather unapologetically to China. India, Russia, and even the United States have a mutual interest in keeping China out of Central Asia, since the region is pretty much the crossing point of the Eastern, Western, Northern, and Southern worlds. According to a report by the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace think tank, instead of large-scale infrastructure projects, Beijing's emphasis has shifted towards helping Central Asian economies industrialize. The South China Morning Post reported how Chinese companies increasingly have to adapt to the demands of the region's governments and citizens who want more jobs, exports, and skill training. Central Asia is no longer interested in becoming a mere pawn of China's geopolitical ambitions. Therefore, China wants to save its fortunes. You know how a person behaves after doing something wrong, right? The fellow will practically project himself to be the epitome of righteousness. But then it's all a charade, and nobody is falling for China's desperate attempt at saving its own exploitative career in Central Asia. Here's what Jessica Naifi, an assistant professor of political science and international relations at the Nazarbayev University in Kazakhstan, said. As China faces more pressure from other powers, it will be forced to pay more attention to local needs or lose its influence and energy sources. She added that China is focused on keeping Central Asian governments happy amid increasing pressure from the United States and Russia to extend their own power and influence in the region. From laying massive pipelines, building transport corridors, refineries, power plants, and other massive assets in exchange for recipient nation sovereignty, China has now been forced to focus on skill development, build local and small scale industries, and hire workers from the host nations. If it wasn't already clear, this runs contrary to Xi Jinping's vision of creating a hegemonic Chinese presence across the world, especially in Central Asia. All the money China has pumped into Central Asia has effectively been for nothing. It has amounted to nothing. Repeat after me: zilch. Now, China has turned a new leaf, and with the current strategy, its immediate goals of turning countries of Central Asia into debt-ridden client states will not be achieved. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to TFI Global. This is Sanbir signing off until the next one.